Please like this video. I really need your support right now. It's the only way this story can reach more people. Thank you so much for being here with me and for your support. Brooke pulled up to the curb and cut the engine. Porch light threw a weak circle on the wet concrete. She glanced at me once, both hands on the wheel. Thanks for the ride, I told her. Anytime, Mark. No smile, no pause, just polite. We talked about traffic on 520 and the blackout at the office. That was it. I walked up, opened the door, and met a wall. Lauren stood in the entry with her arms crossed, mouth pressed into a line like she'd practiced it in the mirror. You two got comfortable fast, she said. Meaning what? You were grinning at her. We talked about gridlock and the outage, I replied. That's the list. She tilted her head. You think I didn't see it? You're inventing a story. She didn't argue. She spun on her heel, disappeared down the hall, and 10 minutes later the bedroom door opened. She came back out in a night-out setup, hair high, heels, a jacket that belonged under city lights, not in our living room at 9:50. I need some air. You walk out now, I said. There are consequences. That a threat? It's a boundary. She grabbed her bag, rolled her eyes like a teenager, and slammed the door. I stood in the quiet house and listened to the highway hum through the trees. Then I hauled out 2 suitcases from the hall closet and set them by the front door. I placed her spare keys in the blue ceramic dish. I switched the guest room lamp on, changed the code on the garage keypad, and set my phone on the kitchen island. No speeches, just new rules. At 3 a.m. the lock turned. She came in with a cloud of club air and someone else's fragrance riding on top of her own. What are those? Her voice was husky from shouting over music. Distance, I said. You crossed a line. You're overreacting. You accused me of flirting with your best friend, left after I called it nonsense, and disappeared for 5 hours. It was a release. I wasn't. I didn't ask what she wasn't. I pointed to the guest room. Sleep. Tomorrow we talk when the sun is up. If I'd known where this was headed, I told myself walking down the hallway, I would have stocked more coffee. The next morning, I didn't wait for her to be ready. I grabbed my jacket and drove to Harold's Diner, the one with the chipped mugs and the baseball photos nailed crooked to the wall. Nate sat in the corner booth. Nate's a quiet analyst from my team, mid-40s, wiry, more observant than he lets on. He'd texted at 7. You up? Need to tell you something delicate. That's a sentence that never brings good news. He slid a mug over. 2 sugars. Like a saint. Appreciate it, I told him, settling in. He looked around once. I don't know how to do this without turning it into a soap opera. Try direct English. I was downtown last night. Client drinks. I cut through second. I passed Vol. He folded and unfolded a napkin until it looked like a trapped animal. I saw Lauren. Okay. She wasn't alone. Tall guy. Blazer with that cocky fit. Hand around her waist. Close. Too close. I stirred the coffee and watched the swirl. You sure it was her? I wish I wasn't, he answered. I hesitated to text you from the sidewalk. I don't like being that guy. You did right by telling me now, I said. That's all. Nate studied my face like he should be seeing fireworks and wasn't. You're calm. I'm not in the business of performing rage for an audience, I said. You have anything else? White Audi parked half on the curb out front. I only noticed because the plate holder had one of those cheesy mountain frames. Lauren's car had one of those frames. She bought it at a roadside stand 2 summers ago, said it made the back look less boring. She was picky about boring. Nate tapped his mug with his index finger. You want me out of this? Say it. I'll shut up and pretend I never saw her. You're not in the middle, I replied. Thanks for the heads up. He exhaled long. What are you going to do? Change the board, I said. And I need you to forget my face for a day. He cracked the first real smile. Copy that. When I got home, Lauren was at the island with a glass of water like it was a prop. She kept her eyes on the sink. Last night, she began. I shouldn't have stormed off. Good start. I needed space. You were controlling. You're confusing clarity with control. She set the glass down carefully. Can we reset tonight? Dinner. No arguing. Tonight I have a meeting, I replied. I'll text you about dinner with friends. Brooke and Tyler. Her mouth twitched. Finally, a conversation without drama. Drama's optional, I said. Facts aren't. I went to my office and sent 2 messages. First to Tyler. Working late last night? Let's catch up soon. Second to Brooke. Dropping off a charger Lauren left in your car. You around after 6? Brooke answered 5 minutes later. Tonight's tight. Maybe later this week. I didn't respond. I grabbed my keys. Redmond streets were still damp. I drove out of our cul-de-sac and toward the big maple that marks the turn for their neighborhood. Tyler and Brooke live in one of those tidy 2-story houses with wide windows and a wreath that changes with the season. His business card says real estate, but his calendar says networking. He's smooth, the kind of smooth that plays well in rooms with dim lights and expensive chairs. I coasted past and saw it before I needed to see it. A white Audi tucked near their curb. The frame with the tacky mountains. I kept rolling, looped the block, and parked under a streetlight. Then I did something that saves time later. I took photos. Plate, timestamp, house number, wreath in the same frame. No drama. Just a record. I called Brooke. Hey, she answered. The tone was high and bright. Too bright. Quick check, I said. Is Lauren with you? Haven't seen her in a few days. Got it. Thanks. I ended the call and looked at the screenshot on my phone. Her lie was sharp and clean. I'm almost grateful when people cut it so precisely. It means you don't need to debate. At noon, I changed another rule. I moved my cards, split the accounts that could be split, took myself off the autopays that were hers. I stopped the habit where I salvaged her calendar when she forgot it. She would live with her own logistics starting now. Then I drove to a short-term rental I'd pre-booked downtown months ago for a client project that never happened. One call, and it was mine for a week. I punched in the code, checked the lock, and left a duffel in the closet. No big speeches. Just exits mapped. Lauren texted around 3. I'm making salmon tonight. I'll pick up a bottle. Truce. Dinner tomorrow, I replied. Us and Brooke and Tyler. 8. Finally, she sent back. We can breathe and actually talk. I didn't answer. I booked a table at our place, then canceled it. I'm not outsourcing the stage. I wanted home court and bright lights. I wanted their faces under a good angle. The next morning, before any smiles or false peace offerings could bend the day, I sat in a quiet office across from a man in a navy suit. Jonathan Weiss. Family law. He's not theatrical. That's why I chose him. He clicked his pen once. You mentioned there might be conduct you won't tolerate. There is, I said. Proof. I slid my phone over. He looked through photos and a log of timestamps that I'd started keeping when Lauren's yoga nights started drifting across the week like clouds. House, accounts, vehicle, he said matter of fact. Given your agreement and her employment history, if we substantiate pattern and proximity, you're positioned to keep the essentials. I'm not out to ruin anyone, I replied. I'm out to stop being played. Let me pause the story for just a second. If you're still here, please hit the like button. It really helps YouTube recommend this story to more people. Thank you so much for your support. Now, let's get back to the story. Understood. He set the pen down. I can start the process now. You don't need to announce anything. We handle the paperwork, we document, and when you're ready for service, we proceed. File, I told him. No heat. Just the word. On my way out, my phone buzzed. Lauren, do you want me to do the appetizer tomorrow? Or should I keep it simple? That was the first soft turn of the day. She'd smelled a shift and was trying to get ahead of it with a grocery list. Keep it simple, I texted back. I'll handle Maine. She sent a heart and a smile I'd seen 100 times layered over different moves. It used to work. Today it didn't. I went home and set the table myself. Open plan, kitchen spills into living room. I moved the table 6 inches so the overhead light would hit faces cleanly. Place settings mattered. Lauren on my right, opposite Tyler. Brooke on the diagonal near me so I could read her profile and see where her eyes landed. 2 wines, Pinot Grigio and Cabernet, plus water with lemon. I put the phone by my knife, screen down, do not disturb on, camera roll 1 swipe away. I took a breath, not for calm, but for timing. At 7:55, there were heels on the porch and the obligatory laughter that comes right before people step into a room where they don't know the rules. Welcome, I said, holding the door to both of them. Shoes off, please. New floor. Tyler chuckled like that was charming. Brooke slid out of her flats and gave me a small nod. Lauren kissed the air near Brooke's cheek with exaggerated warmth. Wine, I offered. Please, Brooke said. Absolutely, Tyler added, scanning the room like he was listing it. Lauren hovered at the island. I'll plate the salad. Be my guest, I told her. Small talk began, the sort everybody does when they'd rather not say anything real. Congestion on 520. Parking fees downtown. A board Brooke sits on that doesn't amount to much except calendar blocks and name tags. I poured water, passed bread, moved empty bottles to the counter. I watched the micro things. Lauren's hand parked near the bread knife. Tyler adjusting his cuff every 2 minutes. Brooke rubbing the rim of her glass with her thumb like she could sand the edge flat. How's business? Lauren asked Tyler with a cheerfulness that belonged at a ribbon cutting, not at our table. She leaned in. Holding, he said to his fork. She reached across me to push the bread toward him. Her elbow nudged my glass. I steadied it and looked at Brooke. She squinted at the basket, then didn't take any. Take some, Lauren urged Tyler, still performing. It's warm. He smiled somewhere near the plate, careful not to meet anyone's eyes. He wasn't afraid of me. He was afraid of Brooke. I threw a courtesy question into the air. Brooke, still on that board with the arts committee? Same crew. More or less, she answered, taking a measured sip. Then to Lauren, you look glowing. New highlighter, Lauren replied. She aimed her glance at Tyler again. There was no tremor in her breathing, but her mouth corners had a tiny twitch. She was playing a part and waiting for applause. I set the second bottle on the table and dropped the capsule cutter dead center between Lauren and Tyler. A line on the table. Lauren pulled it closer without looking. Tyler slid his napkin a fraction and nudged the cutter back. The duel was as polite as it gets. How's your Wednesday yoga? I asked, voice steady. You still going? Sometimes, Lauren said. Schedule's rough. Brooke leaned forward. Wednesday? I thought you go Thursdays. I move it around, Lauren replied, not blinking. Brooke's jaw flexed once. She was connecting dots I'd already connected. We ate. Faces loosened a bit with wine, hands stayed tight. Tyler laughed too loudly at my throwaway line about the city's love for traffic cones. Lauren laughed half a second earlier than him, like she wanted to lead the audience. Careful, Brooke said without looking up when Lauren's spoon clinked Tyler's plate. Sorry, Lauren answered with a smile she didn't mean. I gave everyone more salad to occupy their hands and head off the performance. Then I put the next piece where it needed to go. Quick check, I said to the table, not singling anyone out. We good to talk like adults? Tyler adjusted his cuff again. Sure. Brooke gave me the barest nod. Lauren tilted her head. About what? I turned my phone over, unlocked it with my thumb, and slid the screen into the pool of light between the water and the wine. There was the white Audi, close on the plate, the wreath on Brooke and Tyler's door in the frame, the date and the time stamped clear. Streetlights reflected off glass. The photo didn't scream. It didn't need to. Brooke stared first. What is that? It's the place Lauren said she hasn't been in days, I answered. Tyler reached a hand toward the phone. I moved it a hair. Ladies first. Lauren's fingers came up, stopped midair, and curled back. She swallowed. You see it in the neck when people are counting. It's not what you think, she said. I stopped by to grab something. At night, Brooke replied, eyes on the timestamp. For a minute. Let's not turn this into, Tyler tried. Into what? Brooke cut him off. A lie with place settings? Lauren looked at me like maybe I'd throw her a rope. I didn't. Mark, she said lower now. Please. It's getting documented, I answered. And it's getting finished. Tyler spread his hands, as if he could corral the room. We should step outside. Where? Brooke asked. Vault? Or the upstairs hall? A chair scraped across the floor. He winced like she'd slapped him, but she hadn't raised her voice once. One time, Lauren said to the table, voice small. It was a mistake. Spilling wine is a mistake, I replied. Everything else is a choice. I put the phone in my pocket and stood. My chair moved straight back. The simplest movements have power when the room expects flailing. Mark, Lauren tried again, softer. We need to talk later. With attorneys, yes, I said. That's a threat, she snapped, trying to light a new match. It's a process. Brooke looked at Tyler. Her face didn't shake. Tell me the truth now. Brooke, he couldn't finish the sentence. Now. He stared at the table. You could watch the bravado drain out of a blazer if you're patient. He didn't answer. He didn't need to. She nodded like a judge giving a sentence. I turned to Lauren. Keys in the dish. You'll get what's yours. The rest changes. You're throwing away a marriage over. You threw it, I said. I'm just not digging it out of the ditch. She reached toward me, then pulled back like the air stung. She wasn't used to the world not revolving when she pushed it. Don't do this here, she whispered. Please. You chose here, I answered. You stacked the scene. I moved the lights. I took my coat from the hook. I opened the door. Cold air slid in and wiped the room clean. I looked at Brooke. If you want help with the logistics, I told her, I'll send you a checklist. She gave one short nod. No tears. Just steel. Tyler took a step. Mark, you're making this. You already made it, I said, and walked into the night. Behind me, voices dropped to a hush, then rose as the script fell apart. Why didn't you tell me? It meant nothing. You lied. The door closed without drama. Outside, the only sound was the wind in the firs and the faraway rush of the highway. I didn't go to a motel. I drove to the rental I'd set up for myself and set my bag by the closet. Then I opened my laptop and changed passwords, froze a card we shared, and took my name off the streaming and deliveries I'd arranged for her convenience. Not to punish. To separate. I sent one group text to the four of us. Given tonight, I'll coordinate with counsel. Keys in the dish by tomorrow noon. No direct calls. Email if logistics are needed. Brooke replied, understood. Tyler sent nothing. Lauren replied, you're humiliating me. I didn't answer. In the morning, I stopped by the house while she was at a meeting, which is what she called anything she didn't want inspected. I packed the rest of my stuff I cared about into 3 boxes. Tools, books, photos of my parents. I left the framed wedding photo in the hall closet behind the board games. Nobody needs to carry everything forward like a trophy. Lauren walked in while I was taping the second box. She wore a soft sweater like she'd been cast to play gentle partner. She set a grocery bag on the island. I bought your favorite coffee, she said, and the good cinnamon rolls. I thought we could start over. That's not what this is. She kept her tone sweet. I went too far. I can be impulsive. You know that. And I can be decisive, I replied. Keys. She took them from her purse and set them in the dish like it was a sacrament. You're not even going to try? I tried when I asked for a conversation and you preferred a dance floor. She moved around the island, closer, like proximity was a spell. We can fix this without blowing it up. We just need time. We're out of time. I kept packing, and I'm out of tolerance. You're punishing me. No, I said. I'm separating your choices from my life. She glared. Then the glare softened, and she leaned against the counter like she might slide down it. You're the one leaving. I'm the one who stopped volunteering for disrespect, I answered. It's different. I'll go to counseling, she said suddenly. I'll call today. We can do weekly. Twice weekly. Counseling is a tool, I said. It doesn't fix a decision someone isn't sorry for. It teaches them to perform the apology better. She flinched like I'd thrown water. You're cruel. I'm clear. I carried a box to the car. When I came back, she had a plan C ready. She stood at the stove pretending to fuss with a pan. Quiet. The good version of herself she pulls out when she senses the ground moving. I'll make dinner tonight, she tried. Just us. Candlelight. No phones. No phones. I asked. Like last night. She swallowed hard. I'm asking for a chance. You had 5 hours last night to choose differently, I said. You used every minute. Her polite face cracked. You're acting like a dictator. Let me pause the story for just a second. If you're still here, please hit the like button. It really helps YouTube recommend this story to more people. Thank you so much for your support. Now, let's get back to the story. Boundaries look like dictatorship to people who hate rules. I picked up the last box. No direct calls, Lauren. Email only. Keep receipts. Return anything with my name on it. So that's it, she said. You don't care about the work we did. The trips. The family we were building. You stopped building, I answered. You sublet the floor to other tenants and hoped I wouldn't check the lease. That finally put fire in her eyes. You think you're superior. No, I said. Just done. She watched me put the last box in the trunk. You'll be back. You'll still be performing, I replied. But the audience changed. I drove to the rental and spent the afternoon working. Code, emails, a budget review. Peace is loud when you haven't heard it in a while. At 6, my lawyer called. Papers were filed. Process was in motion. That was the biggest change. The end of the endless, we should talk. Now time worked for me. Not for her. For a week, the only contact was logistics through email. Lauren tried once to wedge an emotion. I miss your routines, and I forwarded the message to the legal thread without comment. Brooke emailed me separately, short and practical. Changing locks today. Tyler's moving to a furnished rental near the lake. Thank you for the checklist. I sent back. If you need a contact for storage, I have one. No conversation necessary. 2 Saturdays later, I met Nate again at Harold's. He slid into the booth and searched my face. How's the interim place? Clean, quiet, hot water works. He smiled into his cup. Lauren reached out to Jenna from accounting. He said, naming a coworker we both knew. Fishing for sympathy. Jenna said she kept it polite and said nothing. Good, I answered. Nobody needs to pick a camp. Nate hesitated. You want to hear a twist? Sure. Brooke's been a machine. Listings scrubbed of Tyler's face, social media minimal, board obligations handed off. She installed a camera on their porch. Doorbell caught a clip of Lauren showing up at 11 one night, crying dramatic. Brooke let her stand there and left the porch light on. No scene. That tracks, I said. Brooke knows theater when she sees it. She said one line. Nate added. Through the door. Your taste for the same room doesn't entitle you to the furniture. Then she switched off the outside light. I laughed once. She'll be okay. He looked at me. You? Better than okay. He stared at the table. You know, most guys I've seen go through this blow themselves up with rage or sink into syrup. You're dull about it. Dull is underrated, I said. It keeps you employed and sleeping. He nodded. You need anything? Just this booth once a week, I told him. The coffee's bad, but the quiet helps. The following month, I signed a lease on a townhouse in Kirkland. 2 bedrooms, a garage with enough space for my workbench, walking distance to a trail that actually goes somewhere. I bought a used truck because I like hauling my own stuff without borrowing. I hung shelves. I called movers once, not 5 times. I put a grill on the back deck and made dinner the first night without checking anyone's calendar. I'd forgotten the luxury of deciding at 5 p.m. what to eat at 6. Work rolled. I shipped a release early and my manager wrote my name into a note that went to the director group. Money no longer disappeared into a Saturday that was supposed to be girls' day and somehow cost $200 more than groceries for the week. I noticed how many hours I got back when I wasn't chasing anyone's attention through errands. One afternoon at the hardware store, I ran into Jenna, the same one Lauren had tried to recruit into a pity circle. Jenna is direct. She looked at my cart, lumber, anchors, a box of screws. New place? She asked. New rules, I answered. She laughed. Heard where? People talk, she shrugged. I didn't join the chorus. Good, I said. I don't need choirs. She glanced at the truck in the lot. If you ever need 2 hands to hold a board while you drill, I'm at the office until 6 most days. I'll trade you dinner for splinters. I can live with that. We've had a handful of dinners since. She doesn't press. She doesn't perform. She shows up. That's a start. As for Lauren, I hear about her like you hear about weather 3 towns over. She's still in the circle, but the circle shrank. Her weekends moved from tables with reservations to couches with half friends who love a story but don't love cleanup. Brooke sold the house they shared with Tyler and moved into a simple rental by the lake with a clean lease and a lock nobody else has a code for. Tyler's Instagram went quiet. Lauren's went louder, then quieter. That's how that goes. When the day came to sign the final papers, there were no cameras, no speeches. I showed up, read every line, signed my name, and left. I walked outside and stood by my truck for a minute, not for drama, just to breathe air that didn't come with someone else's script. Lauren texted once more after the final signatures. It was long. It was tender. It was strategic. She wrote about the early days, about trips, about what we could have been if you didn't give up so easily. She ended with, if you ever decide to talk, I'll be here. I typed one sentence and sent it. I'm not interested in rewrites. Keep what you want from the story. I'm writing a new one. That was it. No block needed. Silence did the rest. I grill on my deck some nights and sit with a beer I don't romanticize. Nate drops by and complains about fantasy baseball. Jenna helps me mount shelves and calls me out when I use 3 screws where 2 will do. I sleep properly. The only late nights now are because I want them, not because I'm standing at a window waiting to hear tires on the driveway. People assume there's some grand lesson. There isn't. I had a house and a routine and a wife who preferred the shine of other rooms to the work of her own. I drew lines. I enforced them. I didn't win anything. I just stopped losing. That's enough. The last time I saw Lauren was by accident, in a parking lot near downtown. She had a different car, a different haircut, the same eyes that liked the spotlight. She paused like she wanted to try a scene. I nodded once. "Mark," she said, like the name might pull me back. "Lauren," I answered. "Keys in the dish." She blinked. Then she turned and walked away. That was the whole conversation. Good endings aren't fireworks. They're doors that close and stay closed. I drove back to my place, pulled into the garage, and shut it with one press. Jenna came by later with a bag of takeout, and we ate on the deck while the evening settled over the neighborhood. She asked nothing about the past. I offered nothing. We talked about the trail I hadn't run yet and the shelf she wanted to help me level. Small, ordinary, living details. No scripts. No stage lights. Just a table, clean plates, and a future I didn't have to defend. If you're waiting for me to say I miss the chaos, I don't. I miss maybe 3 jokes from nights that only looked like fun in photos. I miss exactly one morning when the house felt like a team. That's not enough to swallow everything else. I gave her my last line already. She can keep it. I keep the rest.